Okay, we'll start this session, which is dedicated to the presentation of the French AI Center. There will be a presentation of the 7 AI centers that are present here. And this afternoon, after the lunch break, there will be the same presentation for the German side of the German AI Center. The timing is very strict this morning, so each presentation is allocated 10 minutes. Please try really to fit inside these 10 minutes. Otherwise, I will have to ask you to be brief. Also, I have a message for all the directors of the centers. We will make a photo of all the directors of the French and German centers together. So at the end of the session, before the lunch break, just come here in front and we will take a photo of all the directors of the people who represent the directions. Okay, we'll start by the first presentation of the session for Tue.AI Côte d'Azur. Presentation from Pierre Aliès, who represents the direction of the institute.
Thank you very much. Tue.AI Côte d'Azur.
Okay, it works.
So my focus would just be on the scientific program, to be short. And Nicolas Ayash is a scientific director, and Serena Villata is deputy scientific director. Yesterday, Diana Sebar presented the institutional version of this presentation. So the main focus is on real-world AI with application to health and smart territories. There are 4 main research axes. The first one is the core element of AI, the foundations. And then second axis, AI for integrative computational medicine. Third axis, AI for computational biology and bio-inspired AI. And AI for smart and secure territories. And I'm heading this last axis in this Tue.AI Côte d'Azur. A few words about the first axis, the core element of AI. The focus here is to develop core AI models and algorithms for real-world problems. I won't dive into the details, but we are dealing with statistical, machine, and deep learning, constraint-aware AI, knowledge representation and reasoning, interpretable and explainable and trustable AI. And overall, there are 47 share, and a subset of them, of course, are focusing on this first axis. We have also a few companies interested in these algorithms. Just a quick illustration for the core element of AI. First, success is we work on graph neural networks and on a linkage, which is a statistical AI algorithm to analyze communication networks and social networks, for example, and analyze them. On the right, you see a knowledge graph and ontology-based formalisms for querying and validating and reasoning, to perform reasoning, especially from data, especially from medical data and medical assessment. And at the bottom, you see a framework for extracting information, classification, and also text generation for informed decision making and extracting arguments also for reasoning. For the other axis, I would just do a flash presentation, not more, with a few pictures and keywords. This axis is AI for integrative computational medicine. And that's a very strong application axis of the Tue.AI Côte d'Azur, with a focus on cancer, on cardiovascular and brain diseases, so with neurosciences, also rehabilitation. And what you see here on the top right, you see an example, an imaging of the brain, with also you see some fibers that are extracted using AI. At the bottom right, you see an example of a video analysis of people, also for detecting brain diseases on Alzheimer, for example, and apathy, and so on. And we have a number of clinical partners, and many of them come from hospitals and clinicians, practitioners from a number of hospitals. Axis 3 is AI for computational biology and bio-inspired AI. So here, depending on the chairs, one topic is on computational structural biology. You see an image on the left, 3D conformation of proteins. Other one is on genotype analysis, and the example on the human cell atlas and analysis of this massive data from genomes. On the right, you see this time high throughput and high resolution multispectral fluorescence imaging, so AI for analysis of these complex images. And on the right, brain-computer interface and also spike modeling, so we try to, here on the top right, to model some activities in the brain, and for the brain-computer interface, this is an example of the so-called speller, where someone is able to spell directly after a certain training stage, is able, just by looking at the screen, looking at activations and visual activations, is able to spell sentences using only these sensors on the brain and the activity from the brain. And an original also topic is bio-inspired AI, where this time you see on the bottom right a neuron hardware architecture. This is an architecture inspired by biology. Again, we have a number of partners, biomedical partners and also clinical partners, and also a little bit of electronics for especially a laboratory that conceives hardware. The last axis is AI for smart and secure territories. This is the most applied axis, where we have one part on urban modeling, and this is an example of classification, semantic classification and 3D modeling from visual data, here from LIDAR data, aerial LIDAR data. We also do the same from satellite images. You see bottom left also this smart grid, also using AI for sharing resources to the largest number of users in a smart territory, in a smart city, who are trying to reach global minima and not just satisfying a few users. At the middle, road traffic modeling, again. And there is also an original topic here, is that they are using dark optical fibers, optical fibers that are not used in the telecom networks, but that can be used to monitor also the traffic, and that can be used as a dense sensor along several kilometers of a road, and also to monitor earthquakes and other events, landslide and so on, in addition to being able to measure the speed and locate cars on the road, just by analyzing the signal that comes from these optical fibers. Another topic is collaborative robotics, where you see an example of a fleet of drones here with cars, and where the robots collaborate with the infrastructure and in between them. And bottom right, you see also an aspect covered by one chair, which is the cybersecurity in IoT, and in particular, how to ensure this security of all this sensor data for the smart city and smart territories. We have a number of partners also, local authorities, and from the city, from the Nice, Côte d'Azur, the agglomeration, the department also, and also an Institute of Risk, Environment, and Sustainable Development. Very brief conclusion, that's a research program that addressing both AI methodological foundations in the first axis, where you have many chairs that are involved in this foundational axis, plus applied axis, more applied axis with practical application, with high societal impact, health in particular, and smart territories. And we are developing synergies between disciplines to successfully solve real-world challenges. That's the overall objective. Thank you very much.
So we don't have time to take questions this morning. Thank you, Pierre, but you can obviously contact the people if you're interested. Now we will have a presentation for Anity by Serge Graton, Deputy Scientific Director of Anity.
Okay, guten Tag, sehr geehrte Kollegen. I will stop here. So I'm replacing, in fact, I'm sorry. I'm replacing Nicolas Ascher, who speaks German very well. So I'm sorry, I cannot do as well. And so I will talk about Anity. So Anity is artificial and natural intelligence Toulouse Institute. So natural and artificial play a very important role in our approach. You know that Toulouse is a place where we build aircraft. There are many places like this in Germany as well, for instance, Hamburg. So you know that for this kind of application, it's very important to meet a certain number of constraints, like sorry, I can't read. Like for instance, acceptability, of course, because you want all this technology to be fully accepted by people who are on board. You may want to explain the decisions that are taken on board of this. Scalability means that quite often the problem we are focusing on involve large scale, and other topic I will mention later in my talk. To address all these challenges, we have considered, in fact, three pillars. One is education. So short-term education is when we, in fact, when we consider people in companies and we want to train them so that they can use artificial intelligence. But you have also medium-term, which is just university or engineering schools, long-term impact in which we consider outreach and being in contact with the general public. We focus also on economic development as well, but today I will of course focus on research. Okay, so sorry. Why? Okay. So where we started, so Anity, the main focus of Anity is hybrid AI. Hybrid means combining the virtue of model-based and with data. We have a strong expertise in Toulouse. For instance, there is IRIT, which is an IMT, who are important labs where we study symbolic systems and also data-driven methods. So last for robotics, and we want to analyze those kind of system using both type of intelligence. This combines many disciplines, statistics, automatic reasoning, physical models, and this is maybe a topic which has not been addressed so far in the discussion of today and yesterday, machine learning under physical constraints. And it has implications on many applications. Here I mentioned, of course, aircraft design, but you have others mentioned here. In fact, I will invite you to come and visit us in October 11 and 12, and you will have access to the date and the place later on where we present. So it will be our annual day where we present our center. But today I will focus only on three research results that we obtain. One concern vision, another foundation of AI, and then hybrid AI. Concerning, so how do we get those results? So this is a brief, this is our structure in brief. So we have three programs. One is acceptable AI, which is the connection between AI and society. The other one is certifiable AI, which is the core of AI, statistics and optimization and so on. And collaborative AI is among others, robotics language. In concerning vision, the results I'm going to present today are based on what happened in the brain architecture, and we want to use this idea to build a proper machine learning methods that give good results on problems involving perception. So what happens in the brain? In fact, contrary to the big model or some big models that we have in machine learning, where you have a huge number of layers, in the brain you probably have less layers, but with more intricate connections. For instance, there may be feed forward, but also backward connection in the brain. And we have two chairs in our institute working on this topic. And they consider, for instance, a problem. So you have this kind of connections involved here. And one of the problems they consider is the so-called Pathfinder task. And in this task, you try to find a path between two dots. So there are various possibilities to get to get from one point to the other. And sometimes there is no possibility. And this is considered as a very difficult task. And here are, sorry, I want to go back now. So these are the results that we obtain in this Pathfinder task. So you have two instances of this problem. One is the small size instance of the Pathfinder, 32 by 32. And here you see the performance of our model. But this is more, the low resolution is more like a toy problem. And if now you go to the actual size problem, you get what happened here on the right of the table. So all the methods fail, exception made for the one developed at Anity. And so this is, of course, a result we are proud of. Another topic we investigate concern explanation. And here, in fact, when you do inference, you may be interested in the small set of the minimal subset of features that may explain the decision you have taken. And so we managed to find this subset for several prediction tools of machine learning. And one tool that we use is optimal transport. And using this, we can even find a counterfactual explanation. Another area where we work also in the core of AI is related to autodiff. So autodiff is automatic differentiation, and everybody uses that when he or she trains a neural network. So what you see on the picture here on the top right is what happens if you take a very simple function. It's a function 1/3, which is here described using the ReLU function. And ReLU function is, of course, non-differentiable at one point. And if you take this function, it returns 3. And when you take the derivative, you see one spike at 0, which means that it does not work very well at this point. So we can explain that, why this happened. We develop a mathematical theory for that. And using a mathematical theory, now you can prove things on it. Okay, I think I don't have time to go through other results. These are figures concerning our center. I may want to insist on one figure, which is the number of students trained for artificial intelligence. So we managed to double in 2 years the number of students that are trained to AI thanks to Anity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will stop here.
Let's now move to a presentation of the MIAI Institute by Manel Boumegoura. Okay. Project manager at the MIAI Institute.
Okay, so good morning. So my name is Manel Boumegoura. I represent Professor Eric Gossier for MIAI. So MIAI is the interdisciplinary institute for artificial intelligence in Grenoble, created in 2019 by the French government. And beside of the Tue.AI of Paris, Toulouse, and Nice, we participate to the Tue.AI Institute network. Okay, so our institute is coordinated by Grenoble-Alpes University, and as academic partners, we have the Grenoble ENP, the CEA, CNRS, INRIA, and all these academic partners are members of the consortium of MIAI. Plus, we have also private partners. And when we start MIAI, 50 companies committed to support our institute. And now by 2022, we have over than 89 private partners participating in MIAI with 12 million euros in cash via 150 collaborative projects. So this illustrates the high dynamics of our institute and our ecosystem in Grenoble. So about the governance at MIAI, the governance relies on three main board of management. So the scientific board, the education board, and the innovation board. And I'm sorry, how to go back? Okay.
L'autre bouton noir.
Okay, so we have also an executive board and steering committees, and Professor Eric Gossier is acting both as the scientific and the director of the scientific director and the director of MIAI. And we have additional bodies, the International Scientific Committee plus the General Assembly, and all they contribute to the advancement of the different objective set of our institute. Okay, so we define and identify our institute as a joint private academic institute for developing AI for the human beings and the environment. So we are addressing some key research topics at the core of AI, but also we are addressing in some application domains in health, environment and energy, and industry 4.0. So we have 30 active shares at MIAI, but not only, we have also exploratory projects that we support. So we have shares addressing issues to embedded and distributed AI, chairs in machine learning and reasoning, other chairs in perception and interaction, and also chairs in AI and society. We have also chairs in health, environment and energy, and industry 4.0. So whenever you are interested to go through details about all these research projects, you can consult our website and keep in touch as well with the shareholders. Okay, so the second main mission of our institute is about innovation. So we have two main missions in the innovation board and key objectives. The first one is to disseminate and acculturate people around AI. So we are organizing monthly webinars open to all to discuss and share use cases and debate about critical subjects about artificial intelligence. Plus, we have also a mission to support innovation because we consider that after 3 years of existing, since we launched MIAI, the project at MIAI has enough mature to go through startup creation or valorization actions. So, yeah, I will illustrate later the numbers. Okay, so the third mission of MIAI is about education. So when we start our institute, our objective was to double the number of persons and not only students trained on AI. So we deployed short courses and long diploma courses at the core of AI, but also in AI and application. And we succeed to reach the goal only after 2 years. We also create master degrees, international master degrees in health and AI, and we have one international master also in collaboration with Técnico Lisboa. And also, if you are interested as a student to follow our training, it's available on our website. Okay, so this slide illustrates key figures about our institute in terms of innovation, R&D, and training. So in terms of innovation, as I told you, we have 89 private partners. We are under discussion with 34 new partners. We have 150 collaborative projects. We create 8 startups. We have 10 more in the pipeline, and 3 more startups have joined MIAI. We have 2 joint public and private labs with Orange and Constellium. Also, a new AI center have been created in Grenoble by Atos, and clearly Atos told us that they create this center, R&D centers, because of the existence of MIAI. Okay, also we have 4 international chairs. We have roughly 200 permanent academic members, more than 140 PhD students, including 80 industrial PhDs, CIFRE. And we have more than 600 scientific publications. We also organize events at our institute. We have monthly the MIAI meeting, MIAI days, but also workshops and seminars that you can easily find on our YouTube channel. And also we participate to the 3AI networks. We have joint research projects. We have also winter and summer schools, and some other joint actions about mixity and diversity. So yearly we organize the edition of Women in AI to sensibilize and attract women to follow career in AI. Plus you can easily follow our activities in all the social media of MIAI. So thank you.
Now the Prairie Institute by Isabelle Riel, Director of Prairie.
So, hello everybody, I hope it's work, yes. So I will present you Prairie. So Prairie is the last one of the 4 3AI. The difference between the other one is that it is not in partnership with only one university. We have a very rich ecosystem in Paris. So we have been founded by CNRS, INRIA, Institut Pasteur, and PSL University, and also University of Paris City. We have been from the beginning collaborating with industrial partners. So you have then the list of our partners, and the main point of the institute is a chairs. So we have now 46 chairs covering various fields. So you have people working in optimization, machine learning, computer vision, NLP, robotics, but also some people from physics, people from medicine. So we have various topics. But all these people have their main activity in AI. Let's go, yes. And the idea to build this institute was to have something that is more than the sum of its members. We have all these researchers together with the partners. And it was imposed by the 3AI call to have industry partners, but we believe that this is a good thing to have something, some kind of mixed between high-level researcher and industry partners talking together, trying to convince the other to work with them. So this was the idea, to have this kind of community. We have this in a multi-sector framework because it's very interesting for researchers to see other application domains than the ones they are used to work with. It's also very funny because it has revealed a convergence issue between different sectors. So you have people from car industry talking to people from pharmaceutical. And we have now discussion between different groups of industrial, sometimes without researchers. So a few words about research. So there are some publications. Sorry, not the same one. Yes, it's okay. So we have publications. You can believe in H-index or not. It's not a big deal, but so we don't look at it for individual people, but for the mean. So there are good points. We have new members of the Academy of Science, the French one. So now we have 2+2 and one at the Academy of Technology, and also one at the in the German Academy. We have 3 more ERC. We had 15 when we start. Humble Prize, Royal Society Prize, and so on. So just a focus on 4 different results to show you samples of things people are doing. So the first one is the one from Tristan Cazenave. He's working on reinforcement learning for various games, Go and, sorry, Bridge. I don't know how to say Bridge in English. It's Bridge, so thank you. The same. He participated to the last computer Olympiad, and he had 11 gold medals from I think 22 competitions or 26. So with the same algorithm. So it was the first time somebody do this, and it was done with Quentin Cohen-Solal with a postdoc in Prairie. And as I have not mentioned this group of people that are very important in Prairie, we have now recruit, I think, 125, I think, 125 PhD student, postdoc, and engineer since the beginning. The second one is a result of Alessandro Rudi and Francis Bach, who are also chair of Prairie with one of their collaborators, on some problem of optimization. It will probably become something well known in the future because it has done a big step in this direction. The third one is one done in collaboration with MIAI, because it is a collaboration between Jean Ponce from Prairie and Julien Méral from MIAI, with also a PhD student, Bruno Lequat. And this is a super resolution, so I'm sorry you don't see it very well on the slide. But if you see the middle image is the one you can zoom from the original image, and the right one is the one that they can reconstruct. So it's please believe me, it's much more better. And you have also the last example is one of the team of Benoît Sagot, who is also a chair in Prairie, and they have published a large corpus. Multilingual corpus, especially with very low dotted languages, and it's very important to have this kind of free resources for the community. A few words about education. So Prairie is not a university, so we don't deliver diploma. But it's a catalyst. And around Prairie, you have a lot of things that have been created by PSL and University of Paris City. And Prairie help for visibility researcher. They can also teach. We have master grants. We have now a part of a building in the Paris Santé campus. And all around this, we had a co-fund, a new program for people from industry, boot camp on social sciences and data challenges and so on. So around this, partners have built a lot of things. A few words about network. So you have seen now the 3 for AI before me. So we are working in a network. In Ile-de-France here, there are also a lot of other universities. So you will see just after me Data.AI, High Paris and Sky. And we have all together proposed a project to the region Ile-de-France. And we have succeeded. So there is now a project in Ile-de-France that is called AI for Ile-de-France. And we are also part of a European network, and the Paris node of ELIS is directed by Gabriel Perret, who is here, and he's in collaboration between Prairie, Sky, and Data.AI. We have also scientific events, and so I mentioned some of them. We have a summer school organized with MIAI, with a lot of people, around 300 participants each year, people coming from everywhere. And so not in the last one because there was COVID, but in the first one, we had grants given by our industry partners to help students coming from other countries where, you know, in either sometimes in Africa or in South America, university has not all well doted in finance, and we help them to come in Paris. Also, a winter school on health with MIAI and Tue.AI Côte d'Azur, seminars and so on, colloquium, and also events for the rest of the ecosystem. We have organized the launch of Prairies and the anniversary with each time more than 600 attendees from industry and other partners. You have some pictures there. There were scientific talks with Yann Lequin and Raj Reddy. We have talks from people from the society, for example, on health and how you can approve medical devices with AI, phones, the one in the middle. And we also organize, for example, a webinar with all the French people that have been successful abroad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next one is the Data.AI Institute by Frédéric Chazal, Director of the Institute.
Hi, good morning. How does this work? Il est lent. Et les deux marchent? Je m'écarte. Okay, so good morning. I'm going to present you the Data.AI Institute, just in a few words. So this is not a 3AI institute. So Data.AI is an institute that has been created in 1997 as a convergence institute. So it was selected by an international jury, and it is funded by the ANR, French National Agency for Research, for 8 years. And the mission of Data.AI, the initial mission of Data.AI, was to organize, structure, and federate all the activities in AI and data science in the Saclay or Paris-Saclay area. And Data.AI has changed a little bit more than 1 year ago, at the beginning of 2021, when it became officially the Institute for Artificial Intelligence and AI of the University of Paris-Saclay. So this is a groupment of a certain number, about 12 institutions, universities, national research organism, and engineering schools. So just to give you a few key figures about Data.AI, this is a pretty large ecosystem. So there are a little bit more than 40 labs that are affiliated to Data.AI within the University Paris-Saclay. This represents around 1,000 permanent researchers involved in Data.AI. So in Data.AI, it's not just core AI. This is really we have an inclusive approach where we include all activities in AI and data science at large. We are also hosting 10. I will come back a little bit also on the philosophy of Data.AI, which is not to fund chairs with the Data.AI budget. We use our budget to support collaborative research activities and multi-partnership activities. But we also have 10. We are also hosting 10 chairs, national chairs in AI. We are also managing a PhD program that is funding PhDs. And since the beginning of Data.AI, we have been funding a little bit less than 20 large research projects within the Paris-Saclay ecosystem. And as Isabelle mentioned, we are also co-leading a regional project, AI for Île-de-France, with the 3 other AI institutes in the Paris area. And we are also co-founder of the ELIS node in Paris. So Data.AI rely, in fact, in 3 pillars. One is research. So since 2021, we are in charge of all the activities of the University Paris-Saclay related to AI and data science, which means research, teaching, and partnerships, industrial partnerships. So regarding activities, the way we are functioning is that we promote and support collaborative and structuring research projects within the ecosystem. So for that, we have 2 kinds. So we have some calls, and people apply to calls, and then some jury and committees select the best one. And we have some annual calls that are funding research projects, pretty big research projects, like PhD scholarship, and also some internship, master internship. With the idea that these projects must be have an effect on the structure of the community. So in general, they are pluridisciplinary and they involve several labs or several teams within the ecosystems. And we also have some permanent calls that are open all the year long. In particular, we have an international student mobility program, which is a program to help PhD students to go abroad for a couple of months and vice versa, to welcome PhD students who want to come to work within our ecosystem for 2-3 months. We have money for that, and people can apply all the year long, including German people, of course. We also have a visiting professor program, which is a little bit different from the classical one we have in general in French universities, in the sense that we welcome visiting professors for 1 year in general, 1 academic year. The idea is really to have these people involved in the Paris-Saclay ecosystem, to participate in the scientific activities and to develop some long-term collaborations. And we also support all kinds of classical scientific animations, such as conferences, workshops, summer school, data challenges, etc. Just to give you an idea about some big project we have been funding, I will go very quickly through it, just to show you a little bit the diversity of the themes people are working on in the Saclay ecosystem. There are projects funded that are related to ethics. That goes from the most fundamental and mathematical aspect to social aspect and legal aspects. There are projects on AI and health, project on human and social sciences, AI and environment, safety, e-science, which means AI applied to some other science, like physics, for example. We have many kind of events to animate the scientific community. We also have this PhD program that I just mentioned, which is called Utopia. We are managing, And the idea here, it's something like 30 PhD grant. So this is not, it's pretty small with respect to the size of the Paris-Saclay University and the number of PhD students. But one of the important roles of this program is also to have some action to structure the community of students in AI and data sciences. These students in general are coming from different fields, mathematics, computer science, engineering, and others. And the idea is to try to help them to meet together and to create a community of PhD students within the Paris-Saclay University. And we also have an industrial program where the idea or the philosophy here is not to get just a sponsorship from our industrial partner, but to really build on collaboration, effective collaboration, on long-term collaboration. So we really help our partners to build long-term collaborations with the researchers and labs within the ecosystem. For that, we have an industry affiliation program. So we have set up some kind of programs that help companies and researchers to work together within Tue.AI. And to finish, quite recently, we also have been involved in training and teaching activities because University Paris-Saclay asked us to answer to some national call called Compétences en métiers d'avenir. That was dedicated, or one aspect of this call was for AI and training in AI. And we have proposed a whole program for training in AI that covers the whole spectrum from the first year of university to the last year, that also include training all along the life of people in companies. And this will start on the next September. And that's it. If you need some more information, feel free to contact us.
The next institute is iParis. Gaël Richard will make the presentation, this director.
Hello, so I'm very happy to present iParis. So iParis is a center in AI and data science. It's slightly different from the other centers that have been presented today. It's a very recent center. It was launched on September 2020, and with two founding members, which are HEC Paris, which is one of the famous business schools in France and Europe, and Institut Polytechnique de Paris. And it was joined in July 2021 by INRIA. And one of the specificities of this center is that it's mostly supported by corporate donors, which gives most of the budget of the center. And you have here the list of the 6 corporate donors. So what is the objectives of iParis? It's mainly to be a multidisciplinary center in AI and data analytics for science, technology, business, and society. And multidisciplinary here is a strong word, and it also explains the association between a business school, HEC Paris, and more technological universities such as IP Paris. And the objective is to become a world-class center based in France, based in Palaiseau, and which can compete with the best institution in the world in AI and data analytics. And for that, we have built the center around 3 pillars: research, to go beyond the current knowledge in this domain, education, and building an ecosystem for innovation, helping researchers to have more impact, but also helping the transfer from research to industry. So we have, you have the pictures of the 3 directors of the center. So the 2 scientific co-directors being Eric Moulin and Nicolas Vieille. So the research domains, well, I mentioned multidisciplinarity, and in fact, we are quite spread in a number of domains. So we can summarize this spreading in three, again, pillars or axes. We have research in foundation of machine learning, applied math, statistics, probabilities, and machine learning at large. And we have two directions, which are more applications of AI to business, such as AI for finance, AI for marketing, AI for economy in general, and also a number of fields around AI and data science for society, around neurosciences, and also important topics such as ethics, sustainability, explainability, and so on. Okay, so it's a very recent center, but we have already a few achievements that I can share with you. So most of the budget that we have is dedicated to recruitment. So this is also one of the main messages. If we want to become a world center, to have impact and to change scale, I would say, we need to recruit new professors at the highest possible standards. And so this is why we use the money from our corporate donors in the centers to propose slightly better position and also good hiring package. So the researcher can right away start a new team around him or her. And we have, for that, we have recruited 10 faculties. And I will come back to that a little bit later with some topics that this researcher are carried out. And we've also launched a share program, which is a little bit the same as in the other institutes, where we give a dedicated project to some of our renowned professors. And it's done on a call of project. We have also a program of PhD, around PhD students. So we gave 15 PhD scholars last year and 10 more this year. And we also have a program of collaborative project. It's more smaller project, but to stimulate collaboration between researchers of the different labs and different institutions which are part of this project, of this center. And also we have very recently some additional public funds. So the project DFKI for Île-de-France was already mentioned by the two other centers, Prairie and Tue.AI, and Sky will maybe mention it a bit later also, which is very nice to have this joint project, the four of us in Île-de-France. And we have also a specific program launched by the state for extending and to change scale also in education in AI, and we have also been there. And we can also monitor a number of, I'll say, figures and facts. So the center is new, but we don't start from nothing. We have an ongoing research there. So in 2021, we obtained for example, two advanced grants from ERC, which is a nice figure. And also we have around 480 publications from the 140 researchers which are, let's say, affiliated or which are in the scope of HiParis. And also a nice thing is that 43 of these publications were published in renowned machine learning conferences, such as NeurIPS or MCML, and 43 papers in just 2021. It's quite a nice figure also. So here it's just a brief presentation of our 10 new professors recruited last year. And you can see a nice thing is that they all come from abroad or are originally from abroad country, which is also show that the program is showing this attractiveness at the international level for these new recruitees. Some other achievements. We have also other activities besides this recruitment program around teaching, with organizing annual hackathon, summer schools, data bootcamp, which are specific programs to teach AI to any students of IP Paris, HEC Paris, to give at least a flavor of what is AI and what is data manipulation and what is a a task of doing AI in a practical way to all students. We have also an engineering team, innovation, which has been set up at the beginning of the project to help technology transfer and to help higher impact of the research when you put open source code on the web. And we have also a number of scientific events, which is more classical, webinar, seminar. We had a very nice international symposium a few days ago organized in IP Paris. And I think it's more classical activities for animation around AI around the center. We have a number of other activities, but I don't know how much time I still have. 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes? Okay, thank you. So in fact, we are supported by corporate donors, which also pushes us to propose a number of collaboration possibilities for corporate donors to be in contact for the students, to be in contact with the researchers. And these are a few of the activities, which of course are not only dedicated for corporate donors, but are open to the community. We organize in-person meetups, which will, the first one will be soon in September. We have reading groups where we associate theory and application and practice around trademark papers or landmark papers. And this is very successful also for our corporate donors and for the researcher around us. And maybe another things that we also stimulate, which is also help us to attract new corporate donors around us, is to facilitate the contact between the industry and the students. And for that, we have, for example, a course catalog, which is kind of a dictionary of course, and wishes from professors for having a presentation of our industrial partners to present use cases or present data or present topics for projects. And this is a quite nice activity and very fruitful for both of us. And we had also a very nice hackathon organized. It's a 5 weeks program with kind of preparation phase for 4 weeks and a half, and then a sprint during a weekend where all corporate donors are tightly involved in the organization and in giving prizes and in giving tutoring and presenting use cases. Okay, maybe I can stop here. I have no more slides, and thank you very much for the attention.
And now the Sky Institute, presented by its director, Gérard Piot.
Bonjour, hello, guten Tag. Okay, so I'm going to tell some words about SKY, so the Sorbonne Center for AI. So it's the center from Sorbonne University. So Sorbonne University is a big university downtown Paris, and it's 50,000 students, 10,000 collaborators, and 3 faculties. 1 faculty for science, 1 faculty for humanities, and 1 faculty for medicine with 7 hospitals. So that's a huge university in the center of Paris. And so for the German guests who are maybe lost in the French paysage, and so that's what we have seen so far. So I'm not asking you to look for BIFOLD, but trying to find what we have done. So we have heard about Grenoble, about Toulouse, about Nice, and about Paris. So Paris, you heard about Data.AI, about High Paris, and now the last one is Sky, so that's the region Île-de-France. So the Sky community is composed of more than 100 permanents, a lot of students, postdoctoral students, master's programs, and so the idea when we have created Sky was trying to federate these forces to build a community around the field of AI. And so the roadmap was quite clear. Federate had a vision, support both research and teaching in AI, and with the objective of becoming a key player in the domain with the other partners. and with two important keywords, trying to work together, different fields on the one hand, and trying to work with companies on the other hand. And at the onset, we had two locations, one in Paris and one in the Emirates, because someone has an antenna in Abu Dhabi. So that is Sky today, so 3 years after we have been created. So we are located on the Jussieu campus, if you know, that's in the 5th arrondissement of Paris. And we have comfortable facilities, so these are some pictures, and also some pictures of our centers in the Emirates, which has a little bit different style. So the actions of Sky are quite similar to the actions of the other centers you have seen so far. Of course, we launch projects at the national, the European level. We have chairs of excellence, doctoral program, and trying to impulse also training programs, both in initial and lifelong learning, and of course, a lot of scientific events. So the priorities of Sky in terms of research are first the core, AI, math, computer science, and robotics. So Sorbonne University is number 2 or number 3 in math, I guess. So just behind the Paris-Saclay. In biology and medicine, also a lot of activities in the field of climate and the universe, and finally digital humanities. But these 4 directions actually are just interpreting themselves in the sense that the tools that are mobilized in the different fields are more or less the same: machine learning, explainable AI, interaction, human machines, etc. So these are some examples of chairs at Sky. So we have a first chair held by Mathieu Cord. So Mathieu is in the room. It's about vision and about transformers, a very interesting area of research. We have a chair held by Patrick Gallinari. That's also an oriented chair which is oriented in machine learning, but machine learning for physical systems, connection between machine learning and the dynamical systems. We have a chair held by Isabelle Bloch on hybrid and explainable AI. And also 2 industrial chairs, they are in the Emirates with companies, one chair with Thales, and one chair with Total Energies, which are, of course, 2 big French companies. Also, you've heard so far of these wonderful projects, which is very symbolic because it is an alliance of the centers in the region Île-de-France. So it's called AI for EDF. So it's just new. It just started some weeks ago. So we are very proud of it. And we have also an international reach. We are a member of various consortia, and with Germany, we are in particular a member of the consortium ELISE. Sky is the center of Sorbonne University, and Sorbonne University is itself a member of a European Alliance of University, which is called 4EU+, and the University of Heidelberg is involved in this alliance, so we work a lot with the University of Heidelberg. And we have also strong connections with the new center in Dortmund about trustworthy AI. And of course, we are members of CLAIRE, AI for Media, Human AI Net, and we have also bilateral partnerships with various universities in the world. So some words about our doctoral program. So far, since 2019, we have funded approximately 35 positions, plus 10 this year, and we hope to increase these figures in the next few years. And these positions have been funded part by the university, part by the state, with the French National Program in AI. And we applied for a co-fund, and of course, we hope to scale and to get grants from the European, from Europe, in order to have more international students and, of course, more German students. So we also have some programs at the initial level. So that's the so-called, that's French jargon, but it's French AMI CMA. So you have already heard about it. It's money which is given by the state in order to massify the teaching in AI. And so we have been awarded 7 million euros this year in order to increase our activities in the field. We also do a lot of lifelong learning with companies in order to increase the knowledge in AI and the relationships between academic and industry. So we have long programs of 1 year, we have shorter programs, and we have programs which are designed, co-designed with the industrial partners. So these are some events that we organize at SKY. So we are very happy to organize events at SKY, and I will be very happy to have events with German colleagues. Last year we had more than 70 events, and ranging from 30 to 600 people, conferences, specialized workshops, etc. So it's very nice. So please visit us, and we'll be very happy to discuss. And we have also summer schools. So that was a summer school that we organized last year with Obvia, which is a center in Canada, in Quebec, on the Observatoire International de l'IA. We had also a summer school on explainable AI in September last year. A school with the French École Navale that was in May of this year. And these are the two schools that we are that are programmed already for the May of June and July this year regarding summer school for biologists and a summer school for machine learning for oceans. And finally, some words about the outreach. We also try to spread AI to schools, to kids, and so we organize a lot of events in order to spread the knowledge. And so these are some pictures of events that we organized last year at SKY. So that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you. Many, many thanks to all the speakers. We are exactly at the time of the end of the session. So thanks you for respecting the time slot with German precision, I would say. As I said at the beginning, I will ask all the directors and the representative of the German and French center to come on the stage for a photo of all the directors. And those who are not directors, you can go to have lunch.